Welcome back to another chilling episode of the Induratize podcast. Today we're going to deep dive into some mysterious and haunting unsolved murders. Still baffling investigators today and will likely send a shiver down your spine. I'm Christy.
I'm Cassie. Go ahead and grab a Baja Blast, sit back, and relax. All right, so we are going to be talking about some unsolved murders today. So you have two things to talk about. I have two things to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first one is going to be kind of short because there's not much known about this. And of course, it was a really long time ago. But this one's called the Atlas Vampire.
That sounds exciting.
Okay.
Because I like vampires.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You haven't heard of it before?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Cool. Well, Atlas is a small town in Sweden. So in the 1930s, there was a apartment complex, and there was a girl named Lily Lindstrom. So she lived in that apartment. She lived in one of the apartments, and she was a sex worker. She was known as the call girl.
Okay. The call girl.
The call girl.
Okay.
But not because of her profession.
Oh.
It was just because she had the only one with a phone line in her apartment.
What?
So that's why they call her that.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
So Lily met a friend called Minnie. That was her name. And she lived in the apartment complex. And they also had the same job profession. So they worked in the same line of work. They became very close. Minnie lived underneath her, like a building underneath her. And she hadn't heard from her for a few days. So she got worried and she did a welfare check, called authorities. They did a welfare check. They went inside the apartment and they found Lily. They found her dead, of course, on her bed, naked. And she was, she had a bunch of head trauma by blunt force of some kind of object. So somebody killed her. So yes, all of that is weird, of course. A murder, pretty basic murder. But what was very weird was that when they found her, her whole body was drained of blood. So somebody drained her blood. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't even know how they're going to, I don't know. I feel like that's such a weird thing, draining somebody's blood.
That is pretty weird.
Unless you're some kind of monster or something. But that's what it was. They drained her blood and they found a ladle, a soup ladle, getting chili out of a pot ladle kind of thing. They found it drenched in blood, and whatever made them believe these things that her killer, the Atlas vampire, was using that ladle to drink her blood.
Oh my gosh. That's so weird.
Yeah. I know it's weird. It's just, so I'm pretty sure there are multiple cases kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't done my research on it, but maybe it's something we could talk about in the future.
Yeah.
A whole, maybe a vampire podcast episode.
That would be really exciting. I love that. Love vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty crazy, but to me, it's kind of crazy that they would think that it would be a vampire. And because vampires, suck their teeth into you and then suck all the blood out.
I know.
So this is a bougie ass vampire, right?
It's a bougie vampire.
I need to have a ladle. Let me pour it into my cup.
I
here.
know. And how did he drain her body? Drain her body of blood. You have to have special equipment for that.
That's very weird.
What did he do? I don't know.
I don't know.
Very sad, of course, but they don't know who it was, so.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So moving on from vampires and moving on to the Zodiac Killer.
The Zodiac Killer?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, he's infamous, okay? He, I guess. So anyways, this is back in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. There was this killer, and he's known to have killed 5 people, right? But could be up to 37 people.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but literally connected to 5. So this guy was a mastermind at murder. Mm-hmm. But not only that, but murderers are not cool. Okay, I'm just going to say that. But I'm just going to say I'm probably going to say that word a lot. So it was really cool that he put these murders together and had like puzzles and stuff, right? Like he would send out these cryptic letters to the newspaper and like media, different things like that, cops and stuff. So he basically would make these cryptic messages where you would have to solve like the puzzle and then it would give you a message. So I think that it's cool that he was so smart that he could do that and that nobody else could figure it out. That's cool, right? Not cool that he killed people. Okay. But he could have used his mind for something better.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm kind of getting at, right? So anyways. So there was one of these scenes, the murder scenes where he was at a lake and it was like people talk about it and stuff. And he killed people where there was a witness. And the witness said that he was wearing like all black and he had like this box, like black thing over his head and had little slits for his eyes so he could see out of it. But then he had his sign on it already. So it was like, his sign was like a circle with like a line through it. It's like his sign, the zodiac sign with the lines and everything.
Yeah, it's like his month of birth.
I don't know, like his symbol. Since we don't know him, we don't know if it's his month of what in any of it really means, just that he was the Zodiac killer.
Oh, okay.
And that's the sign for it. So he would use like different symbols and signs during like all his puzzles and things like that when he was taunting everybody. Like things like that. But during that scene, there was that witness, but the witness, he said after he, killed people and was like stabbing and stuff, he went over to their car and like on the door of the car, he like wrote the time and date that he did it. And then underneath that, he wrote like the other dates of other murders that he had committed.
So why are he doing that?
I don't know. To be honest, I kind of feel like he just, I don't know. You know the movie Saw, and it's like, hey, I want to play a game. I feel
That's
like
what it seems like.
he's very similar to that, and he's like, hey, you want to play a game with me? And he's making everybody be the player in the game because he's trying to see if we can figure out his puzzle.
That's crazy.
That's kind of, it's pretty crazy.
So what year was this around,
in the 1960s.
So is he still alive?
I don't know. I don't know. I know nothing about him. Possibly not, which would mean we never know anything. But,
Dang.
Yeah. So anyways, he didn't really like hide his crimes because he wanted people to play this game is what I'm going to call it.
What
because
a
he was trying to
weirdo.
like put out these puzzles and get people to like figure them out. In December of 2020, private citizens actually cracked it.
Would they crack?
They cracked it. And what it said was, and hold on because I got to read it because I don't want to mess it up. He says, I hope you're having fun trying to catch me.
Oh my God. What?
Oh my God. Yeah. And that right there, the one that they did was from a 340 character paper that they had to figure out. And private citizens are actually the ones that did it. And it took them 2020, sorry.
Oh
From the
my God.
1960s. It was pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's no way he's alive now.
He liked to taunt people, so he would like do a murder. And one time, like he called the police station, and he was like, "Hey, I want to report a murder. No, a double murder. They're in the car,
God.
and they were dead.
Oh my God.
Like just to do it.
Yeah.
But they said when the people that answered the phone said that it was so creepy because he was just so chill about it.
Yeah.
He's just like, I killed somebody.
Huh.
Yeah,
You gotta be really like sick-minded to think like that.
absolutely.
His thing is, he's probably like, or was, because I'm assuming he's probably dead. He was probably like the coolest guy. Like he was probably just like a normal dad, or it could be a girl, whatever. I'm just gonna call it a guy.
Yeah.
They probably were like the coolest. You think they're the sweetest little sweetheart, and then they're actually a serial killer.
Yeah, and
A weird one.
I feel like a lot of times the serial killers are like that, where
They
they're
always
just
seem
like,
so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty chill or person or just cool in general, and then they're just going around behind people's back killing people.
You know, like that movie we watched recently. It was like the dad taking the daughter to a concert.
Yes.
He just seemed like such a, and I'll put the name on the screen what it was called. He seemed like such a good dad.
Yeah.
He was just a cool dad taking his daughter to a concert she wanted to go to, and turns out he was like a freaking serial killer.
I know, how crazy
Like a
is that?
crazy serial killer.
Yeah, crazy.
So, and he was just a cool little dad.
Yeah. That was
And
so
he loved
crazy.
his daughter. So,
Yeah, so you just never know.
You never
who
know.
you were talking to that might be an actual killer. It's
Evan?
very true. That was during when I was like
He's a
doing
killer.
research and stuff on the Zodiac killer. I was looking like on TikTok, and there's this one guy. He's like, I think my grandpa did it. He's like, I think that my grandpa was the one. So you never know. It could be somebody that you know. Yeah.
my grandpa was it.
Now there is a documentary on Netflix about it, and who they're
Oh.
thinking would be it. There's a ton of different suspects over the years and stuff like that, but nobody actually confirmed.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy
Yeah,
and crazy.
the fact that he's walking around in just like this black outfit with little slits in his eyes and just stabbing people.
They need to make that like, I mean, they do that kind of stuff where they make real crimes into movies, not documentaries, but like an actual movie. They should do that.
They should. I guess it's so hard because they don't know who it is.
Yeah, and I guess like they don't know every fact of certain things, and if they make up random shit to fit the movie, then people start following the fake facts, and yeah, I could see that.
Very true. Very true.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. But it was pretty. I'm not gonna say it, okay? I'm not gonna say it. It's cool,
It's
but
cool?
he is. It was cool that he could put these puzzles together that nobody could figure out. I think that people should, if you're gonna kill people, don't do that, but instead do something better, like I don't know, cure cancer. Or
Like
something.
if you got that crazy mind to get away with murder, is what you're saying, right?
yeah,
Do something else with that
Something
crazy
good.
mind.
yeah, something good with it, like I don't know.
I get it.
Build like a really cool, phone or cure cancer or I don't know, anything at all that isn't killing people just to do it. So, anyways, crazy people are that smart.
Yeah. All right. So we are moving into the next segment, which is something we do every podcast, is try something weird, whether it's food or maybe like we'll possibly get into some things that are like trending on TikTok or something. I don't know. Anyways, this is cup of noodles. So this is ramen noodles and is the breakfast limited edition one. So it's maple syrup. Oh, it's flavored as maple syrup, pancakes, sausage, and eggs. And there are little sausage and eggs in here. So, you said gross.
Yeah, it's nasty. I don't want to eat this.
It smells so good.
It smells like syrup.
It does smell like syrup. It smells so good.
Syrup.
So we're gonna try it, Evan.
But it does have little, I just don't even know. I don't even want to try this. It has little eggs in it.
It does. It has like little
Sausage things.
eggs. I'm ready when you are.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Okay, first bite was good for me. Let me try it again.
It's not good.
I can't tell.
It's not good.
Maybe because they're expired.
Or it's just not good. But I don't like ramen noodles. Any of them. I still, to be honest, I can still taste the s'more ones that we did a few weeks back.
Yeah. I would say the first bite was good. The second bite was like, oh no. Third bite was like, eh.
I'm going to say 0 out of 10. Ugh. That's not good, Cassie.
I'll give it like a 3 out of 10. It's such a weird like combo, and it's a really good idea, but also not good.
It's not good.
The first bite, I was like, oh, that's pretty good, but then I got all the like actual stuff on it. Ugh.
No.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about the murder of Black Dahlia.
Black Dahlia.
Which is, her name is Elizabeth Short. Have you heard of her?
I've heard of the name.
The name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, I wrote down information so I don't say anything wrong. But, so she was 22 years old and she died in 1947. She was found in a vacant lot with, I believe it was a mom and a daughter. They were just walking and they found her. The way she was placed, they thought she was like a mannequin, but turns out it was an actual person.
Wow.
Whenever they found her, she was cut in half. Yeah, cut in half. Her body completely mutilated, and her body was drained of its blood. Now, we just talked about that earlier.
I think you have a thing for vampires.
I guess, but like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Maybe it was a vampire too. But somebody drained her blood. Okay. Weird, obviously. Another thing that was really weird was that her organs were removed from her body and tucked underneath her body. Like, very neat.
That is
like
super strange.
Very nicely neat put under her body. And of course, it gets even worse. Chunks of flesh were missing from her body, like they were like cut off. And then they found feces in her stomach, which is like maybe she was forced to eat her own feces, which is sad. Yeah. And of course, this, because we're talking about unsolved, this was not solved. This was not a solved murder. There was also concrete found by her with some blood on it. But we'll get into that part later. Don't really know why. Maybe it was to help like transport her there, because since her body was drained and like all like there wasn't like blood splattered everywhere kind of thing, it makes it seem like she was transported there, not just killed where she was found. Now, the weirdest thing though is that her face was cut from like ear to ear, kind of like the Joker's face looks like. Oh. So someone did that to her.
Oh.
Okay, so a little backstory about Elizabeth. She had a family. She had a pretty big family, and they were hit pretty hard by the Wall Street market crash, which made them become pretty poor. Mm-hmm. So that was stressful for her family. But her dad specifically was pretty stressed out, and he died. Okay, he died. And it was like said to be died of suicide because he was just tired of like working so hard and barely getting any pay and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyways, he faked his death. So this girl had already went through hell already before because she had a dad gone for a couple years, and then he comes back like out of nowhere. And they had some like, she lived with him at some point for a little tiny bit, but he was like really mean to her, and like they were always just getting in fights and stuff. She was trying to be an actress, so she was like an upcoming actress. So she wasn't like painted to be this innocent girl that was murdered by the people in her community. She was apparently an alcoholic, and that just made it look bad, and people just really trashed her, and they just talked about how she was seen with men all the time. Tons of men. Like 50 in like a couple weeks of men. Like that she was a tease, a whore kind of thing. Like it was... So she wasn't really getting the attention she needed from being murdered as just an innocent girl being murdered. They were just kind of like, she's whatever.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. But it doesn't seem like, and it was so long ago, but it doesn't seem like she was actually a bad person. She just, I don't know. It's just all it said was she drank alcohol. So yeah. I guess she was a little hoe. So the name Black Dahlia was given because There was currently a movie out at the time, a popular movie called Blue Dahlia. I don't know what that is, but apparently that was like kind of in reference. But pretty much she wore black clothing a lot, like sheer black clothing. She just wore black all the time, so that's why it was called that. So there are multiple suspects, still multiple suspects. They still like get calls randomly, like people, I guess more like pranking the police stations and stuff, calling and saying, I killed her, blah, 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 even though they didn't. So whenever like her body was cut up, was cut from like the lumbar area in the spine and organs being removed and stuff, the examiners, they are like, somebody has to know what they're doing because it was done so perfectly, as if they were like a doctor. Mm-hmm. So it was done so precise in a way that it made it seem like it was a doctor. So one that stands out the most would be Walter Bailey. John Douglas, a FBI profiler who worked with the case, created a profile that matched his, just by the way things were done. So it seemed like it was him. They don't have proof if it was him or not. So another person's name was George Hodel. I think I'm saying that right. But he had a son named Steve who was looking through his belongings and found some photos of a girl that looked like her. So it looked like her. So he was like, ew, that's weird, because he knew who she was.
Yeah.
And then found multiple other things that seemed to be like related to her. So it was very suspicious. And he was like, wait, my dad killed her, and was trying to like get it figured out. And he was telling on his dad. Like he was going to the cops and telling on him. Yeah. One thing that really stuck out the most was, I said earlier, there was concrete found by her body. Well, he found a receipt that was for concrete, the same exact brand and style of it or whatever. So that was obviously very creepy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think it was him, but there's no proof that it was him or not. They did like bug a house one time, and you couldn't really hear what he was saying, but it seems like he was talking about her, and I don't know, it seems like he probably could have been the one that killed her.
Did he know anything about like doctor stuff?
He was a doctor.
Oh,
yep.
Snap.
He was a doctor, so
probably him.
It's yeah. So there's a multiple people, like hundreds of people would just call in and be like, I'm the one that did it, just to be annoying for whatever reison. I see that a lot on murder cases. I don't know why you would want to put yourself at risk.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or even just fuck around with somebody's case. They're trying to find out who the actual person was.
So their name is known.
Stupid, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
People do that. It's so weird to me.
It is weird.
Yeah. Something else.
It's very weird. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. You want to try this again?
No. Absolutely never. Ever again.
Never again? Mm-mm. It smells like syrup in here.
It stinks.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, and I like syrup.
I like syrup.
That's not good.
Okay.
So I am going to talk about a murder that happened in the 1920s.
1920s?
Yes.
Oh.
So I don't know much about any of it, obviously, right? But I did find it kind of interesting. So this is the murder of William Desmond Taylor. So he was a silent film director. Do you know what a silent film is?
Yes, sadly.
I just thought I'd ask.
Yes, sadly I do.
Well, whatever. They were cute back in the day.
No, they like, I don't like them. And I think I just have like anger about them because they always used to put them in like really good TV shows. Just randomly, like a regular TV show, throw in a whole episode of wasted silence, black and white, running around for no reason.
That's right. They did.
I hate that shit.
They were
like on Sabrina.
One.
They did that shit.
On Sabrina.
I hated that shit. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, anyways, he was also an actor too, so he did both of those things. But he actually was murdered in 1922.
Okay.
At his bungalow. That's what it's called, a bungalow.
Bungalow?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, nobody's found anything out, so they don't have any leads or anything like that. But they did investigate multiple people. But one of the stories I heard is like the neighbor that lived like across in a different bungalow heard what she thought, could have been, maybe like a gunshot, or it could have been like a car backfiring.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw like a dark figure come out of the building and go off, right?
Yeah.
Into the alley or whatever. But nothing ever came of it. Her husband actually didn't hear anything at all. He had just went upstairs and came back down, and he's like, I didn't hear nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, it must have been just a car backfiring kind of thing like that. So there was nothing at the scene that they could find. But of course, the cops contaminated the scene. So we couldn't really find anything out anyways. Because, of course, they had, done their part. So they found him to a gunshot wound to the back. He was lying on the floor. He was fully dressed. He even had his hat on. And they ruled his death as a homicide, right? And there wasn't anything that appeared to be stolen from his, his apartment building or anything like that. But a lot of secrets came out, like with this, because everybody always thought he was just this like clean cut guy. But it turns out he had a daughter nobody knew about by, a lady they had seen. And then she had, her and her daughter was sitting in the movie theater, and she's like, oh my God, that's your dad. Like, what?
Yeah.
So there's that. And the suspicion is that maybe these days, I guess the suspicion would be, they didn't really look into that ex-person, with the daughter, but maybe she, had somebody kill him because she was like, oh, that money's mine, right? Because he was a big time back then. So there was that. And then, of course, he was, dating Margaret Gibson, which was an actress, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly his girlfriend, lover, or whatever they want to call it, back in the day. And then there was Mabel Norman, which was a good friend. So they weren't never really considering her as a suspect, but could have been. Just because they knew each other, right?
Yeah.
That's really it. So, but lots of secret life, some, financial issues, affairs, different things just coming out. And then they did look into his chauffeur. So the chauffeur apparently stole like $5,000 checks from him, which is a lot of money back in 1920. Okay.
I wonder how much that was. Like,
what it would be now?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, they had some issues, so could have been him, I don't know. Different things like that. But the fact that it's never been solved is kind of creepy, right? Because, that's a long time. And I don't know. Nobody really knew anything. There was a lack of evidence. There was, scandals, right? Because of the affairs, the daughter, things like that. So, kind of weird.
How was he murdered again? Like, how was he found?
A gunshot head.
Oh, a gunshot head. Okay, I missed that
to
part.
the head. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, he's still in his clothes and his hat and everything. It's kind of weird, huh?
So he was just like a cool dude, but had like this whole different life people didn't even know about.
Yeah.
Like they thought he was just like this professional dude who worked hard, but turns out he had a whole different part of his life he kind of just hid from people.
Yeah. And you think, oh, it was just like a robbery or something, but seeing it's pretty much nothing. Literally nothing was taken, and it's kind of like,
Nothing was taken. Yeah.
Yeah, so they wouldn't really go for that on that side of it, but definitely, I would be like, definitely look at the daughter's mom.
Yeah, she could have done it or had somebody kill him. Yeah, so whenever, like, you said, people were thinking maybe it was the Illuminati, and he was, like, a celebrity. Kind of, right? Like, just a small actor, kind of, I don't know.
He's a big guy. Like, he was, director and actor. Yeah.
Okay, so normally when the Illuminati is involved, people just disappear. You don't find, like, this horrible crime scene. They just disappear.
True.
So possibly,
yeah,
maybe the Illuminati got the doctor.
Maybe.
Why?
I'm still banking on the
Maybe.
daughter's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because she gets all this, they get all this money.
Yeah.
If he's not there, 'cause I guess I should have said this, but he just made her, the daughter, the heir to his money if something were to happen to him. So to me, it seems a little sus. And as you know, whenever murders happen, it's usually if it's related to, you have like these exes floating around or a current person.
It's always them.
It's always them.
Always. It's
Always
always the
them.
husband, the
Yeah.
ex-wife, the ex-girlfriend,
Yep.
or the current wife.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Crimes of passion. Yeah, like for real. It really is.
Well.
So I'm going to say it's probably her. And they were like, oh, we got to have, not the daughter, but the mama was probably like, oh, yeah.
Hey, the daughter could have been involved too.
Yeah, she could have been.
Maybe.
I think she would have been excited just to even know that she had a dad, but...
Oh, she didn't know she had a dad?
Not until, well, she knew she had a dad. Everybody has a dad. But she didn't know who the dad was until they went to the movies that day. And the mom was like, oh my God, that's your dad. All right. So basically, we don't know, obviously, who killed him.
Mm-hmm.
But this somewhat, clean-cut guy, ended up having a lot of secrets. And sometimes secrets get you.
What was his name again?
William Desmond Taylor.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that's the end of our video, our podcast. This is episode number 3. So we talked about unsolved murders, just some random stories that we heard, or not heard. We looked up because we research on YouTube and TikTok pretty much is where we learn all our stuff from. Mm-hmm. So that's what we talked about. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you guys in our next podcast.